Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 23rd of July. Today we have some updates, so let's discuss them. And today we're going to start with the report of Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation. They gave us some new fresh numbers, some new data to analyze. And if we are talking about Donbas, our operation, about the area between Seversk and Bakhmut, the Russians struck the 14th Mechanized Brigade. To be more precise, they attacked the 2nd Battalion that located near Bilogorovka, near this area. These forces are trying to stop the Russians' offensive operation from Sporne, and not today we are not talking even about Sporne. Today the Russians control Berestovo, so I suppose that this 14th Mechanized Brigade is located near Bilogorovka. And their main idea to stop the Russians from attack from Berestovo towards Bilogorovka and from Vasilievka towards Bilogorovka. And during the previous hours, I'm not saying that about 24 more or less, according to the Russian report, they managed to destroy more than 50% of this mechanized brigade. And according to the standards, if we're talking about the standards, the mechanized brigade has around 550 soldiers. So if they're saying that they destroyed more than 50%, we can say that they managed to destroy more than 275 soldiers, and that's a lot. That's really a lot. If we take a look at the map of this position, we won't find the 2nd Battalion in this area. This brigade, 14th Brigade, is located, their main base, in the south of Ukraine near Kherson. This brigade has a lot of battalions. There are 3 mechanized battalions, 1 tank battalion, 1 artillery group, and so on. So this 2nd battalion of this mechanized brigade is located in Donbas, and their main job is to protect the Ukrainians on they reinforce the Charlie group during these days. And now the important update with this national battalion, Donbas. It's a very old battalion since 2014. This battalion has a very interesting history during the previous conflict in Ukraine. And as a result of Russian attack, this battalion lost around 60 soldiers. And that's a lot as well, because these forces are well trained. They have their own history. And as I told you, this battalion exists since the first campaign, so that means that there are very experienced forces and very experienced guys, and losing of these 60 soldiers from this battalion is a very big loss for the Ukrainians in this Slavyansk-Kramatorsk agglomeration. And now the important update is about the south of Ukraine. The Russians struck these 406 artillery regiment, and as a result the Ukrainians lost around 200 soldiers and around 9 artillery systems. This truck wasn't in Nikolaev. The Russians struck these forces in this area near town Apostolove. This town is located on the south from Kryvyi Rih, in this area. So I suppose that the Russians the main goal for the Russians in Nikolaev in the south is to find HIMARS, because as you can see during this week, the Ukrainians are attacking Kherson, Novokakhovka, the bridges in this area using HIMARS, and the Russians, the only thing they're doing is try to find these HIMARS in this area, try to locate them and destroy. So that's why they're searching, they're attacking, and so on. And these days we got a lot of reports, a lot of videos and pictures from Nikolaev with destroyed hangars, with destroyed buildings, and so on. Today we got another report from Odessa. The Russians attacked the port, Odessa port, and they destroyed, as a result of that attack, some boats, some military boats in this area. So let's follow the situation. Now let's continue with the south, with Kherson area. If we take a look at the West Sources map, you're gonna see one important update. This one, this blue icon with the rocket or missile. And as a result, today the Ukrainians attacked this bridge, the bridge that crosses Ingulets river, this river Ingulets, and this bridge connects, we can say, Kherson and Novokakhovka. these towns. So let's calculate one more time the bridges in this area for better understanding of the situation. The first bridge is we can say that is located. It's a railroad bridge, and there is a road bridge. It's Kakhovka Dam. This one, very big bridge, very powerful construction, and it's not very easy to destroy, and it's not very safe to destroy this bridge, because there are just few ways how you can do this. And of course, if you are not very clever, and if you not very nice artillery soldier, that means that you are able to destroy the entire dam and to deal a lot of damage to the south of this area. So that's why it's very difficult. But as we discussed, the Ukrainians asked for help and asked for more and new missiles from the US, and as I understand, they brought them or are planning to do this. And with these missiles, the Ukrainians will be able to destroy just the railroad and the road without damaging the dam. So it's, of course, very interesting situation. Another bridge is here, this railroad bridge that located between Antonovsky Bridge, this one, Antonov Bridge, and this Novokakhovka Dam. This is the railroad bridge, and the Russians are using them, or maybe not, because I haven't got any report about this bridge, and I suppose that nobody talks about this bridge. That means that this bridge is totally available, and the Russians are using this bridge to support the Kherson area. Antonov Bridge. This one was under attack, very heavy attack during the previous week. A few days this bridge was closed for the regular people, or the crossing of this bridge were reduced. But we got report that a few days ago the Ukrainians tried to attack this bridge with 12 HIMARS rockets, but all of them were destroyed by S-40 systems. And today we got another report that Ukrainians attacked this bridge near Daryevka, through that bridge that crossed Ingulets River, this one. And as a result, this bridge was damaged. The people and the military forces still can use this bridge, but everybody understands, and this information is confirmed by the Russians. If Ukrainians continue doing the same, of course, very soon, maybe in a week, they're going to destroy this bridge, and it will make a lot of problems for the Russians. So let's discuss. Let's say that the Ukrainians are not able and they are not planning to destroy this bridge, this dam, because it's, as we discussed, it's very dangerous. So that means that they need to destroy this one bridge, and by this they will achieve the same result. Because if we take a look at this Ingulets River, this one. During all this river, we won't find there is one more bridge, it's small bridge on the north, but as you can see, this bridge is very close to the front line, so we can say that this bridge is not a problem for the Ukrainians. At least they are able to establish some fire control, or if they're planning to do offensive operation without counting their losses, of course they can establish control over Alexandrovka very soon. Now let's move further. Of course, there is some bridges on the north, but the most important one is this one. Every single bridge that located on the north can be easily taken or cut by the Ukrainians with artillery or even physically. So if the Ukrainians are able to destroy this bridge, that means that they don't need to destroy this dam, because this is the same thing. Of course, the same thing. So that's why they are able after that to start their offensive operation, just to destroy all these, by destroying all these three bridges. And we got more and more sources that Ukrainians are planning. Furthermore, if we're talking about the south of Ukraine, we know that in the middle of September, by 15th of September, there are going to be two referendums in this area, one in Kherson district, another in Zaporozhye district. And as a result, and the main question on this referendum, do you want to join the Russian Federation? They will ask the people from this area. So that's why we understand that Ukrainians need to start their offensive operation before this referendum, because they need to take back or to make this referendum impossible in Kherson district. So that's why it's a vital question for them. Today is the 23rd of July, so I suppose that in the next months we're going to see. I suppose that Ukrainians are waiting more and more equipment, maybe some trained soldier, and as soon as they get everything, they will start their offensive operation. But If they will be defeated, and they can be defeated, of course, the Russians will start immediately their counteroffensive operation towards Nikolaev. And yesterday we discussed about this brigade, Ukrainian brigade that was created on the territory of Kherson. Today I got more and more reports and videos from every single Russian channel, Telegram channel, Russian military specialist about this brigade, so everybody understand the price and the cost and the value of this Ukrainian brigade, who is going to fight with the Ukrainians and who support Moscow and who is fighting against Kiev, because under their flag they are able to collect more forces if they are able to show a result. So this will be their first mission, we can say classes, to show the progress and to show the result that they are able to establish control over Mykolaiv and create maybe Mykolaiv People Republic or something like this. And after that, they are going to, with help of course the Russians, they will move to Odessa. Now let's talk about our Donbas Arc operation. The front line is stable. If you take a look at the Russian sources map, there is some icons showing, like you see advanced actions, showing that the Russians are pushing in this direction, but everything is very difficult. But today I thought a lot about this situation, and to tell the truth, I don't think anything new, because this situation in Seversk and Bakhmut is totally the same situation as we saw in our Gorska, Zolotoye, Toshkovka area. The same situation. If you remember, the battle for this fortified position started in the beginning of this military special operation and just ended in June, we can say at the end of the June. So it took more than 2 months to crack this nut. Of course, the Russians don't have 2 months to crack this nut as well, but if you remember, while fighting in this Gorska, Zolotoye, Toshkovka area, and this entire bridgehead collapsed as soon as Toshkovka fell, the same situation is here, but meanwhile, that operation, the Russians took control over Liman, over this bridgehead. They pushed from Rubizhnoye. They took control over this Avdiivka bridgehead. So they did a lot of job. So today I see that, of course, if we're talking about the Russians, to give people some media victory, not to give them any possibilities to think that something is wrong, because if we take a look at this front line, sometimes I suppose that we ask ourselves, maybe something is wrong, maybe the Russians are not able to crack this nut. I suppose that everybody asked himself about this question. So that's why, of course, the Russians need to give some, if they are not able to crack this nut very fast, of course, they need to give people some media victory. I'm not saying that they need to make some breakthrough, but at least, I don't know, if they are able to take some town in these areas we discussed, Nortsevka, Zaliman, they will move the focus from this area, and they will give a possibility to people who following the Russians understand that they're doing something and they get some achievements. But they're not doing this, and the simple explanation about that Ukrainians are keeping their area very professional. They hold their positions. They are not giving the Russians even the possibility to take another square meter. It might be some kind of course, of explanation of this situation. Now let's come back about to the Seversk area. As we discussed, Donbas Battalion lost some forces, 14th Mechanized, the 2nd Battalion lost some forces. The Russians are trying to suppress the hills that located on the west side of Seversk. They're trying to attack Zvanovka, Vyemka, they're attacking Zakitna, Platonovka, Riznikovka, this area, because the main artillery positions, the Ukraine has the main artillery position on this side, and today we see that there is just artillery duels between forces, and the Russians are pretty successful, but we also know that Ukrainians are pretty successful as well. Because for now, the main Ukrainian goal is to reduce the Russians' depots of ammunition and shell. As you can see, they attacked this town, Kadievka, this one. There was some losses, there were some blows, explosions, and so on. Another important explosion was in town Gorlovka. I suppose that you saw videos from this area. That Ukrainians, the very big smoke, very big. So as we understand, there was some kind of depot of ammunition. Interesting update are coming from Novolugansk. Today, some Russian sources confirmed that the Russians were forced to leave the south of Novolugansk. If you remember, a few days ago, we discussed that the Russians started their offensive operation in the main idea to crack the knot in the south of Bakhmut, but as I understand, maybe they wasn't defeated. I suppose that this town is already reduced to ruins, so I suppose that they decided to leave this area because of the fact that there is no possibilities to establish some position to fix themselves there. I suppose that the situation in Novolugansk is the same situation as we can see in Berestova, because this town is also reduced to ruins, and it took time the Russians to establish control over the town, to build new trenches, to demine this area and so on. So I suppose that every single building in these towns will be ruined on the Russians' way, and it's new tactic, Ukrainian tactic. Now they're not just leaving the town, they also try to reduce this town and not to give even a square meter for the Russians where they can build their own fortification. So this is the tactic of Ukrainians. Tomorrow is Sunday. Tomorrow we are going to build some projections for the next week. I suppose that sooner or later the Russians will take Seversk. As I understand, Seversk is something like Toshkovka in this operation, and as soon as Seversk falls, the Ukrainians will start some evacuation from Bakhmut towards this line. Also, maybe the Ukrainians are going to start their offensive operation in the south, and we will discuss tomorrow the value of this bridge and what it gives to Ukrainians if they are able to cut this bridge from their side. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds you that we condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, join my Patreon, and have a good weekend. Bye bye.